So what we have here is a 2021 Porsche Taycan Turbo S. And today, I'm gonna walk around the car, show you a little bit about the outside of the car, do a little bit of a tour of the inside, and then we're gonna take this puppy out for a ride. So let's get started and let's talk about the outside of the car. I want to thank the folks at BlueGrass Motorsports Porsche in Louisville, Kentucky for providing the Porsche Taycan Turbo S in today's video. Hey everyone, I'm Andy with RS Xperience. Each week, I bring you videos that showcase amazing roads, teach on-street car control techniques, give my views on performance cars, and interviews with auto industry experts. So I think Porsche did a really good job maintaining the overall look of the car compared to the Mission E concept they showcased several years ago. I think overall the look came out pretty good. What do you think? I especially like this look here of the headlights. It's very modern. I know it might be polarizing. Some people might not like this look, but I do like the way the LEDs are set inside here in this blacked out area. These are actually real vents that go back through. Has a really nice look to it. I like the look of the back of the Taycan too. I think these kind of the blacked out glass band here, which is now familiar on most all Porsche models now, beginning with the latest generation. And then here we have the Taycan Turbo S. This is in a high gloss black, but the Porsche raised letters inside. I think that looks really good. Again, down along the bottom here on the splitter, we have a little bit of carbon fiber trim on either side. And I think for a modern electric car, when you think of something that's supposed to be a little bit modern looking, I think they did a pretty good job on the design. So this is in the front. As you can see, there is not a whole lot of space here. Okay, now let's take a look at the trunk of the car. I think the lip here on the car, when you look at the distance, you know, from the bumper to the ground, I don't think that's that high. I mean, in order to lift up and put stuff in the car. The thing I think is always cool is the way the charging ports open. I think you just slide your hand underneath and the charging port opens, and then slide your hand underneath again and it closes. I think that's pretty slick. This car actually comes with two. There's one on this side, one on the other side. The other side, I believe, is a fast charging. So I think this car, on the slow charge, it takes like 93 minutes to go from 5% to 80%. And on the fast charge, I think it's like 23 minutes. So it's like an hour and a half versus, 20 couple minutes to go from 5% to an 80% charge. So that's a little bit about that. I really like the side here. There's some inlaid carbon fiber down here along the doors. I kind of like this overall shape here. So the size of this car falls, it leans more towards the Panamera side than the 911 side. Here's another cool design feature with the door handles. You can see these handles are flush in with the car, but as I walk up to the car, keys in my pocket, I want to open up. All I got to do is pull on the door and open it up. And then when I close it, after a period of time, these things will set back in and lay inside. Look at the brake calipers on this thing. These are the Porsche ceramic composite brakes, but the size of this caliper, it literally almost takes up half of the size of the wheel. I mean, just look at the size of that thing. It's huge, but when you're trying to stop 5,100 pounds, I think I want some decent brakes, especially at the front of the car. What I want you to take a look at here is the B pillar on this car. I know it's kind of hard for me to point out here, but this B pillar actually sits a little bit forward. And the reason is, as I'll show you in a minute, getting into the back seat of the car, you need that opening to be big enough where you can get in. So the challenge you have here with this one is when you want to get inside the car, the seat is back a little bit already. And when you get in, you're actually right up against the B pillar and getting inside the car. It's not horrible. It's just most B pillars, like in cars, they sit back a little bit further. And even getting out of this car, you can see I kind of use the B-pillar to kind of push myself up and get out. Here you can see in the back what I'm talking about is that opening in here is really not that wide. Here, I'll step inside. And you can see this opening down in here isn't very wide. So imagine, you know, if this B-pillar was even further back because you want to get in the front of the car. But the seating position back here is fine. I'm not that tall, I'm 5'7", so I have plenty of headroom. I have plenty of foot room down here as well. I think overall it looks pretty good. Up in the top, look at the size of this panoramic sun roof here, or moon roof, whatever. It doesn't open, but it is one giant piece of glass. That's pretty big. These seats are really comfortable. They have some really nice bolstering on the sides. Again, there's Alcantara cloth centers, Alcantara with Turbo S in the headrest. The seat backs here, it's a plastic, but it's a little soft. It's not super hard on there. And then this one has the Taycon matte fiber lit sills, and this one also has the Burmeister stereo system. Okay, looking straight ahead, here are the gauges. So there's 3 gauges across the front, and typically in the center gauge of a Porsche, you would see the tachometer. Here we have a speed, and then this dial is actually showing power kind of usage and power kind of regeneration. So to the right of the dial, as we're moving along, this will turn blue to let you know that, hey, you're consuming power. And then if you lift off the gas in Sport Plus or range mode, it will kind of regenerate. You get a green. In normal mode, it just kind of coasts, just like you would in a regular car. If you took your foot off the gas, the car will just kind of coast along. In Sport or Sport Plus, if I remove my foot off the gas, it actually, the motors kind of put a little bit of drag on the wheels and it begins to slow down. It doesn't slow down like, you know, if you take your foot off and it's just like, it just dies on you, but you can feel a little bit of resistance in the motors. What's interesting in this view is there are certain things that are blocked here. Like over on the side, here's the time, but I really can't see the time when my hands are on the wheel and I'm looking straight ahead. There's just a few things I can't see. What I do like about this gauge, this cluster gauge, is I really like the shape of this. I think it's very modern, very sleek. There's also some settings here along the side that are very easy. This is a configurable button down here that you can configure. And then on the other side, you have the switches for your lighting, which again, I think is, it's pretty simple, pretty basic. Along the inside of the car, along the sides, typical Porsche, you have your adjustments for the windows, the folding mirrors, as well as your mirror settings. This one has memory seats, so you have that setting as well. Down in the back here, hidden on the other dial, you can see the Porsche, you know, cruise control, kind of the same as everything else. Here we have the dials that allow me to, you can see here on the right, I'm in that particular screen. So I can select between trip, sport, right? I push the button, it gives me the information there, miles per hour. Your consumption, 45.2 kilowatts per 100 miles. I have no clue what that means. What I do like, I don't know if you can see this here, is the shifter knob, right? In the new 992, this shifter knob is down here in the console, and I really don't like the way it looks. I like it there. All right, so here we are in the Taycon Turbo S. We're gonna head up the highway a little bit, do a little bit of a drive, catch a few minutes on the road. So right now I am just in what's called normal mode. And I'm gonna go ahead and get on the entrance ramp here. This car feels just like a Porsche. I mean, yeah, in this turn here, it's flat, but you can feel the weight a little bit. Oh my God, this power is addictive. And I'm just being gentle with it. Very smooth ride. You probably can't really hear any noise. If I'm in the RS, I'll have to do that later. When I'm in the RS, you'll hear a lot of noise. In here, you're probably not hearing a ton of noise right now. So it's just basically hear some tire noise and hear a little bit of wind noise, but really even the wind noise isn't that much. I mean, that hitting the gas and getting that giddy up and go is what an incredible feeling. So let's turn the dial here. I'm going to go into sport mode. And what will happen is, based on the modes that you're in, obviously your range will kind of adjust. I mean, right now I'm at 255 miles of range. If I go back to normal, it jumped up to 261. Not a whole lot of difference there. Let's see what happens when we go to Sport Plus. Sport Plus, it dropped down to 248 miles an hour in Sport Plus. I'm going to put it back in normal. Really smooth ride. So we're going to get off here. Let's see what this feels like going through this clover leaf. Braking hard. Nice and gentle off the brake, back to gas. As you always hear me say, look ahead, look through the turn, around, slowly building gas, slowly go. Give it gas, oh my God. Signal here, brake, settle the front nose, turning in, gently lift. We're just kind of coasting along, eyes up, eyes ahead. We're just going to stay in this lane and get back off again. Of course, I got to get behind this guy. One of the things that's interesting is that the speed is very deceptive. I think because with a naturally aspirated engine or an engine that's making some noise, you can hear it shifting up, you can hear it shifting down, you can hear some noise. And while I can feel and see the speed of the car, it's very odd, like when I'm hitting the brake, I don't know, it's hard to explain. I feel like when I go to hit the brake, when I go to slow down, I realize I'm going a hell of a lot faster than my brain thinks I am. So when I'm starting to, apply the brakes, okay, I got to slow it down here. All of a sudden, you're just like, man, I got to get on the brakes. And this has, the Porsche composite ceramic brakes that come standard on the car. But you're like, all right, I'm going a lot faster than I think I am. I got to put on the brakes. So the steering feel, let's talk about the steering feel in the car. You see me wiggling the wheel here. It's a little on the light side. It's not GT3 RS feeling, okay? Let me just say that. Although I think it is very good. I don't feel like I can't plant the car, or I feel like I can plant the car where I need to. I think if anything that messes with my mind with the steering is, again, some of the weight of the car. the ride is smooth. It's not rough. It handles the bumps, because this road's not the smoothest road in the world. It handles the bumps, I think, really well. It's quiet. Again, just getting some road noise from the tires, not really going that fast to get a lot of wind noise. I suspect there's some, you know, gasoline powered vehicles, some luxury cars that probably ride just as quiet, would be my guess. I'm not a big luxury car person, so I haven't driven many. So some things I have to remember here is I'm not driving the RS. So one is like, hey Andy, you need to be a little, you know, with the brakes and settling the car, because it is really heavy car. So here we go. Let's give it a shot here down this road and see what it feels like. I'm really curious on how this weight feels in this car. Braking, settle the front of the car down, release the brake, back to the gas, go. Holy woly, woly, whoa. Stay on your side of the road, Andy. Braking, nice and easy through the turn, back to the gas. What do you say? Back to the throttle, I guess. Back to acceleration. Oh. Okay, nice brush of the brake here, back to the throttle. Stay on your side of the road, stay on the road. You can feel the weight. I mean, when you push it around a little bit, I say Porsche engineers have done an excellent job with the suspension and whatnot, but you can feel the weight. I mean, let's face it, this thing is almost 2,000 pounds more than the RS. 2,000, a ton. So here was the thing I heard some people talking about in this car, and you've probably seen it on some other videos, are people who drive in this car. I'm not sure it's as much the driver as the passenger. They actually get a little queasy from the car. And I think I can see why. While I'm typically good as a driver, I don't get any motion sickness. Sometimes as a passenger, I do. And this car here, because it's the forward and back motion that I think is what gets your stomach going. So there's a mode, one of the modes here, and I'll show you the dials a little bit, or you've seen the dials already, is the range mode. And the range mode, I believe it does more of the regenerative to the batteries when you brake. So as you brake, the dial in the center will go green, that it's recharging the batteries. So right is, you know, hey, here's the power you're using. Left is regeneration. So as I'm hitting the brakes, there's a dial, as opposed to attack, there's a dial that's saying, hey, you're doing more regenerative braking versus the other way around. So also in the range mode, it has a maximum speed of 70 miles an hour. So it's saying, hey, look, you're wanting to preserve battery life in the car, whatever the case may be, then, you know, we're going to limit to how fast you can go, which makes a lot of sense, right? Try to get the miles. I'm at 235 miles right now. Speaking of the mileage, I don't know what all the noise is about, you know, the range. Oh my God, the Tesla's got this, and oh, Porsche's only got, you know, 300, or I'm sorry, 192, 200, whatever the range may be. And I believe that most people that are driving these cars are probably never driving, I say never, rarely driving more than 20 miles from home. So if you drive 40-mile round trip, even if things got 200 miles, you can do that 5 times before you have to put it on charge. So I don't, you know, are we running around when you're in your petrol engine vehicle that you're like, oh my God, I can't go that far, I'm gonna run out of gas. I think it's in your mind because you know there's gas stations around, but I find this range thing all a bit overblown. You know, if I'm gonna drive this car from Louisville, Kentucky to Orlando, Florida, well sure, I gotta plan out my route, figure out where I'm going to, where the charging stations are. But when I'm running to the grocery store, running some errands, you know, taking the car to the dealer, going shopping, I mean, where am I really going? I'm not going anywhere. So anyway, I don't see it. Oh, so I kind of get the feeling there on the gas pedal, the throttle, when the speed is within that number. It just kind of, I don't want to say it goes dead, it just doesn't go anymore. It says that's as fast as you're gonna go. But I could see as a touring car going on a nice ride for a day, even if you go out and drive 100 miles, it's really comfortable. I mean, these seats, I think these are maybe the adaptive sport seats. These seats are really comfortable. The driving position is spot on. I love the steering wheel. This one has Alcantara on the wheel. I swear this diameter is actually smaller than the RS. At least it feels like it in my hands. It feels really good. Okay, let's do launch control. Sport Plus. Got it. Foot on the brake. Accelerator to the floor. Launch control activated. Lift the brake. Holy sh**. Oh my God. Oh my God. Now I know what those other guys in the videos were talking about. Oh, I could see doing that a few times literally can make a passenger sick, or literally I felt the brain like move to the back of my head. Wow. 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 That was almost scary. But like a roller coaster, you want to do it again. So let's go up here. Okay. Sport Plus, foot on the brake. Gas. Launch control activated, go. Shit. Holy moly, wowza, wowza, yowza, and all that stuff. Whew. If this thing had wings and I can pull back on the steering wheel, we'd probably be able to get some lift. So the 0 to 60 time in this car is 2.6 seconds. I am going to venture that it's faster than that. Porsche, as we know, is typically conservative with their estimates, and I'm gonna say it's faster than that. That, without a doubt, was the fastest I've ever gone from a dead stop to straight ahead. I mean, I don't know what to call the sensation. It was almost a little dizzying, they're throwing you back. Your eyeballs feel like they're going back in the sockets. I know everybody, oh, is just exaggerating, but now I get it. I get what those other car reviewers are talking about. You'd want to just go out and, you know, just take all your friends out for a ride and say, hey, I want to do launch control. Come on out with me. We're going to go do launch control. That's what you would do if you had this car. You know, heck, you could probably go charge admission Say, hey, I'm taking the Taycon Turbo S out. Who wants to go out and do launch controls until the battery goes dead? Woo! Don't let the weight of this car fool you. While it handles really well, and Porsche's done a really nice job there, you're still tossing around 5,000 pounds. Well, what's the final verdict on this? GT3 RS, naturally aspirated or electric, or both? So this driver says both. I got to hand it to Porsche. High fives to the designers and engineers for hitting a home run on their first all-electric automobile. This car is really amazing. It's closer to a four-door 911 than I believe the Panamera is. While it's heavy, I mean, gosh, it's nearly 2,000 pounds more than the RS. It gives you a total different driving experience, right? A little more luxury, a little more tame, quieter, obviously, than the RS. Drives really smooth, but gosh, when you want that power, does that thing get up and go? You can place that car anywhere. When you're on the highway, you need to get in front of somebody or do something, you just think it, and the car will be there. That's how quick it is. The launch controls were just crazy. I don't think I did have ever done anything that quick. So anyway, thumbs up. Final verdict. I'll take both, please. So look for more content coming up here. Every week we put out new video, and we'll have some really exciting ones coming out here in the next few weeks. So as always, everyone, thanks for watching. Be healthy and be safe.